They've just gone and killed everyone and everything. Hello, welcome to I Read This Book with Chris. With me, Chris. This is Chris. This is the book. All These Worlds by Dennis E. Taylor. This is the third book in the Bobiverse. While discussing All These Worlds, I got myself a French press. The Bobiverse. These are the other books. This is book 1. We Are Legion, and then 4 We Are Many. So, in We Are Legion, Bob is a tech millionaire who signed up for cryo, where when you die, they freeze your body, where they can bring you back. Then he gets hit by a bus, and he gets turned into a von Neumann probe. I believe that's what it's called. So it's a probe that goes into outer space and duplicates itself. He goes to Alpha Centauri, duplicates himself, and comes back. And the world's in chaos. Then in the second book, Bob has to figure out what's going on and try to save the humans race from themselves, which almost killed itself with a nuclear war. The population's down, I believe they said to like 15 million or something. And he makes ships and stasis pods where they can store people, transport them, and the years-long trip from Earth to Alpha Centauri. And then 2 other places. Bob also created the BobNet, which includes faster-than-light communication, so that Bob can go and talk to other Bobs in other star systems that normally would take years for light to travel back and forth. He also discovers the others. They are a hive mind race. They have taken everything from their own solar system and are going to other solar systems, taking all of the metal that they find, killing all the life that's there, and taking all of that as food and bringing it back. And so that's where we get to for the beginning of All These Worlds. What happens in All These Worlds? Most of the loops that have opened up in the first 2 books are closed in this book. One of the first of the little stories that we are brought into is on Poseidon. Poseidon is a water world, just floating cities basically, built on top of floating mats of algae and seaweed. They built cities on top of those. And the government that has taken over has basically become authoritarian, and this says Marcus. He's the Bob there, realizes what's going on, thinks it's not good, and so intervenes in order to stop these authoritarians from ruling. And a very short war takes place. They had made a constitution, but the rulers who he kicked out, they were not following the constitution, and they said, yeah, we don't have to do these things. We're supposed to have elections. We're not going to have elections. So he works with the rebels, and they're able to create a revolution to solve this issue. So Bob is coming into this human world. I mean, he helped create, but had in the past, or at least other Bobs had in the past, talked about how dangerous of an idea it is to get involved in human government and to let these people decide their own things. But once he sees them doing it in a way he doesn't like, he hopped in to help create a revolution. There was attacks from the government onto the rebels, and then the rebels attacked back. And it appears as if the rebels are doing the best they can not to kill anyone. But they did forcibly take over a government. Whether it's legitimate or not is a question. And then everything seemed to work out well. And it seems as if in the history of the world on Earth, most of the time there's a revolution, things do not work out well. But it did on Poseidon. And then Howard, he's one of the people who is friends the humans on one of the worlds that they're on. And he falls in love with Bridget, this woman, realizes he can't be with her. And so she goes and she has a family. And then her husband dies. And he is still friends with them and comes back and talks to her and convinces her, he is in an android and is visiting as a as an android, he convinces her to get herself uploaded. So when she dies, her family, mainly her daughter, think this is an awful idea and try to stop it in the courts. But the will was pretty clear, and there's nothing illegal with her final wishes, and so she is able to get uploaded. And so then Howard and Bridget, both now replicants, then live together in VR and decide after they have androids that are Mannies, which are humans. They find a planet which is like a big Jupiter, and they decide let's have a floating city. And so they make a city which is floating, which then they, as android humans, live inside of. There is the Pav situation, book 2, book. So the others were coming to this world that the Bobs had discovered, and the Bobs were unable to prevent the others from coming in and destroying the planet. So they came in the night, knocked out a whole city of like 10,000 people using sleeping gas, captured them, and put them into stasis chambers, and took them off world as the others came and destroyed their planet, taking all of the metal and killing all the life. Bobs go and they take these Pavs and they find another planet which is suitable and the Pavs will be able to survive on. Bring the Pavs there, create a little city for them, and release them, and tell them, hey, they explain the situation to the people, a few of them, and say, this is what's going on, and we're here trying to protect you, and these are the people who came and tried to kill you. And we have video evidence to show you guys, and it was just a really nasty situation. So they've found this other, and these Pavs are at like Victorian level, steam engine level of technology. And then the Bobs decide they need to deal with the others, and they attack, and there's a battle with the others in which the Bobs lose. And they come back trying to scavenge anything they can, learn any information they can from this battle. And they find one of these, they call it the Bellerophon. I'm probably pronouncing that right. It's a reference to something, probably. It's this giant spaceship that's 1 kilometer wide and 10 kilometers long. Others used as a transport vessel. It's derelict. There's 2 of them that are that were destroyed in the battle, and so the Bobs are able to go find one of them, figure out a way to make it work, and bring that back to Earth. And they take the other one and scavenge it for all of its materials. And they bring that back to Earth in order to take all the humans off Earth. The Earth is turning into an ice age from nuclear winter, and the others figure out which system the humans are from, which the Bobs are from, and are coming to destroy that system next. So the others are on their way to Earth to kill all the humans. Bobs are on their way with this old derelict transport, which they're going to try to put all the humans on. And a big space battle happens, during which the others shoot at the Earth, kill apparently everyone in Cuba. That's the only hit they make on Earth. But it's a very close battle, and the Bobs just barely survive. But they are able to knock out the others in the Sol system. Just barely, but barely is all you need. And we're trying to discover what is the solution to deal with the others in their home system. I believe it was Bill came up with the idea, and he sent out 2 Bobs who took 2 small planets and pushed them and had them basically reach light speed and attack the sun, the star, on the other's home system, which made it go into supernova. Basically, when a star explodes and becomes the size of its own solar system, eating up all the planets and everything inside of it. So that's what the Bobs do to the others in their other home system. After seeing the carnage they've done on other planets, after seeing what they've done to the Pav's home planet, after they have come and decided the others decide they need to come and wipe out Earth and all those people, all the humans left on Earth. So the Bobs are then able to, using the Bellerophon, the giant derelict transport ship, are able to create all of the stasis machines, put humans into the rest of the human race into the stasis machines, and bring people away from Earth towards other systems which are more habitable and just better, basically. Then at the end, the Bobs go and have that. Basically, the Bobs are tired of working for humans, babysitting humans, taking humans off of Earth, setting them into their own planets, and interfering with them in such a way where they're basically tired of being involved and they want to go out and do their own thing. I am conflicted. I am really enjoying this Bobiverse. There are a few things that bug me about it, but generally, it's a fun, enjoyable reading experience. Some of the things that confuse me is now all of the Bobs, except there were a couple of Bobs at the beginning of the first book that were shipped out before the BobNet was created. But besides that, they're all connected on this BobNet, which means there's instantaneous connection. Yet, these chapters jump forward and backwards in time. So, here's one chapter, October 2247, then 2256, then 2225. I don't understand why. I understand why in a story it made sense and it keeps tension up. To tell these different stories, and you are interspersing these stories between Howard and Poseidon and all these things. You want to intersperse them so that when you read them, you're reading a good book. But I'm not sure exactly how much sense it makes to go and to have time when everyone can talk to each other, and people do, from different planets, and yet be mixing all these things together. What's the point of having the timeline and having this faster than light communication where you can be in instant communication when you're jumping forward and backwards years in telling of a story, I guess, is my point. Also, a lot of the Bobs are interchangeable. And like I said before, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. It could be a good thing because they are all the same person who just have very slight variations, but also could be a bad thing because they're all different names and they're all supposed to be different Bobs, different characters, but they're the same, but they're different. There's a lot going on here, and I'm not sure what I think about that. I am interested though, so this is book 3. There are 5 books in the series. Book 3 ends a trilogy. It seems as if all of the storylines have been closed, nice and neat. I think it's interesting that a lot of the things that Bobs were wondering if it was a good idea, and that as a human you may be thinking, but it's a good idea that he's dealing with. Is it a good idea for a artificial intelligence, which is what Bob is? He's a replicant to which is human intelligence on an artificial inside of an artificial case, right? The question becomes: is Bob AI or is he human? Should he deal in government? Should he make the decisions? On Earth, he did his best to say, I am here. I'm not going to be the ones making all these decisions, but I have all this information that I can help you with. And you, as the UN on this planet of 15 million people, are going to be the people responsible for helping you, for dealing with this. I'm just going to be here to help you out. Which is probably a little optimistic, thinking the UN can do anything. But he's like, I'm going to stay out of government. But then, on Poseidon, he decided, I'm going to do government. I'm going to take over and help do a coup. Is it a just and a righteous coup? It appears it was. It appears as if it was a pretty good revolution, considering how revolutions can go and usually do. It was a good one. But he hopped into government. There's a question of, should computers, whether replicants or AI, be in relationships with humans? Howard fell in love with Bridget. Well, he was a computer and she was a human. So much so that she decided to then spend eternity with him. When she died, they copied her brain and made a copy of her in the computer. So should humans be having relationships with robots or androids or replicants? And what exactly does that mean? And then, of course, there's the whole situation with the others. Bob's wiped out an entire race of alien beings. Because this race of alien beings wiped out at least one, and then tried to wipe out two other planets just filled with people, with other beings. They've just gone and killed everyone and everything. And so Bob then created the final solution to deal with a problem. And yet all of this time, here Bobs are, while doing these things, which are dangerous, interfering with human society, wiping out an entire race of aliens, species of aliens, falling in love with humans, and hopping in, kidnapping an entire city to save them. Some of these things are like, whether or not these things are good or not, this is Bob just doing all these things while at the same time making a bunch of references to modern pop culture. It's intriguing. I'm enjoying it, but it's how exactly one is supposed to think about it and the actions of these Bobs is unclear. The thing that's sticking in my mind, even though this is probably the least important, at least at the severity of his things, was Howard and Bridget. Howard falling in love and convincing Bridget to become a replicant. I think her daughter might have been doing the right thing, trying to stop it. Her daughter said, "This is not a good thing. This is a bad thing. We cannot allow this to happen." Tried to convince her mother of this while her mother was alive. When her mother died, sued. And when she realized that that the suit was going to fail, booby-trapped the containment system which held her mother, which Howard realized what was going on and stopped it before the bomb could go off. And then when Bridget came back, his daughter would have nothing at all to do with her. And I think the daughter was probably right here. Even though the story leads you to believe that Bob is alive and is able to do these things. He probably is. The Bridget, which I think was duplicated, is not the same Bridget as the Bridget that died. It's a copy. And this is a new life. If this is a new life, it is a new life, separate from her. And so there's this woman who fell in love and died with this idea that she was going to be able to spend time with Howard and have this extra life with Howard, which she's unable to do because she's dead. She spent her life being in love with an android, a replicant. There's some dark things in here, bro. Anyway, this is book 3. There are 2 more books in this series. I'm going to keep reading them and probably rambling at you about them. Thanks for watching.